It's getting uncomfortable for him, and more importantly for Joe Biden, ladies. This guy, Devon Archer, again, going to give testimony this week. I outlined what he's expected to say. And on top of that, we've gotten now our hands on the 1023, the form, I have it here, that this confidential source provided to us, suggesting that a bribe had been paid to Joe and Hunter Biden. I mean, Joe being the operative recipient, in order for his action on Ukraine when he was the sitting vice president. $5 million to him, allegedly, $5 million to Hunter. And it goes through in great detail why this confidential human source, who we apparently trusted in our government, outlined why it was done, that it was done by the Burisma executives, that they were really trying to get the government, the investigation into Burisma done and over with and get rid of the prosecutor. And that's exactly what Joe Biden wound up doing, getting rid of that prosecutor. So there's a lot here to digest, but my overall point is this House Oversight Committee is zeroing in, not just on Hunter, but on Joe. And the media has done a total and complete blackout of it. Eliana, what do you make of it all?
Wish I could tell you I was surprised about the blackout. And what's interesting about this form is it is the testimony of one witness. And we hear in the press, it's uncorroborated, unverified, and so on. Well, you know, if only we had some reporters who might be able to chase down leads and corroborate tips. That would be quite useful when it came to testimony like this, but that's not what we see in the mainstream media. More importantly, I think what you're seeing with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden is this slow boil where there is a drip, drip, drip around Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. It's like a frog boiling in a pot, where I do think that this is having an impact on the American people who are starting to understand. They may not be following this stuff closely, but are certainly starting to understand that these guys were up to no good. And we'll see if Devon Archer shows up to this testimony. He's canceled 3 times, and this is supposed to be behind closed doors. But what he says could be very interesting and important. On the other hand, you know, he was a scumbag in business with Hunter Biden. He's not the most unimpeachable witness. So we'll see what happens. But more broadly, I do think this is taking a toll on Joe Biden and the image he has tried since he entered politics many, many, many moons ago to put forward, that his word and his character were unimpeachable.
You know, the timeline is coming together, Emily, on this alleged bribe. And I should say and underscore right at the front that this confidential form that the FBI had and didn't want to turn over to Congress, but ultimately he had to, Chris Wray had to, they were threatening him with contempt. This is just about 6 weeks ago. We don't know whether this form is true. We don't know whether what the confidential human source was reporting to us is true. What we are all asking for is an investigation. We would like to find out if it is true, because if it's true, Joe Biden committed a crime and belongs in jail. Literally, those are the stakes. If what's in that form is true, Joe Biden is a criminal. So we can't just say, oh, who cares? Whatever. You know, it doesn't amount to anything, even if true. If true, he's a criminal. He took a bribe as the sitting vice president of the United States and then sold out our country by pulling off this prosecutor from this Ukrainian corrupt oil company, gas company, Burisma, in exchange for the lining of his own pockets and those of his son. That's what's being alleged in the 1023. And Devon Archer, who was Hunter's business partner at the time, gives additional information that dovetails very nicely with the allegations in that form. More and more, things are building toward Hunter and Joe were on some sort of a corruption scheme while Joe was vice president. We don't know whether it's true. But Emily, the fact that this isn't the lead story in every newspaper in America right now, with the appropriate cautions, is actually downright disturbing to me as a member of the press.
I had the exact same reaction as I was reading the New York Post story today. I was like, my goodness, this is so explosive. It's well-sourced. It's detailed that in another era, this absolutely should have been and would have been. I think, our media has never been perfect, but this would have been the headline on the front pages. It would have been the headline, the lead story on news channels, but it's basically just crickets. Now, some of that is because there is, as Eliana mentions, a drip, drip, drip. But the 1023 and the Devon Archer story in the New York Post today are absolutely related. And they continue to be related to the whistleblowers, the IRS whistleblowers that we just heard from last week. Basically, you have the government impeding investigations, hiding things like the 1023 form or preventing those from getting out. All the while, we also see very clearly more and more evidence that Joe Biden, who said, he outright said he did not have any knowledge of Hunter's dealings with foreign clients. He made that a point in his 2020 campaign. And I didn't know anything about this. As the Devon Archer testimony suggests, not only did Joe Biden know about it, but some of those meetings we heard about from the laptop, like at Cafe Milano, a very swanky restaurant here in DC, where people, elites like to have, fancy dinners and do business over their dinners, those fancy business dinners. Cafe Milano, we know that Joe Biden and Ukrainian clients of Hunter Biden's were there. We've seen pictures of them golfing together. So while we have all of this, like the pieces are there, what we don't have is the clear sort of explicit thing from anybody other than Tony Bobulinski, who the media just has already decided has no credibility. Someone coming out and saying, yes, Joe Biden was involved in the business. And by Joe Biden taking this call and talking to Hunter Biden's clients, by the way, that's him being involved in the business, because what they're selling is influence peddling. And we know that this was while he was vice president. If Devon Archer is to be trusted, you have the vice president of the United States taking calls from his son, who's sitting at these restaurants, these meetings with his Ukrainian clients. Well, he's the Obama administration's point man on Ukraine. You don't need to sound like a conspiracy theorist, Charlie Kelly at his chalkboard connecting the dots crazily to understand any of the story. It's just that Joe Biden was helping Hunter Biden sell influence.
Here's the timeline. So first, just for those who are living their lives and hopefully not reading the 1023 over the week. People have things to do. But here's a little bit of what was in this form, which we were never supposed to see. And now it's been released for all of us to look at with a few minor redactions. Okay, again, this is a bombshell FBI informant file describing a $10 million bribery allegation against then Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. The man's now president of the United States, for those of you playing at home. A Ukrainian oligarch claiming he was coerced into making the payoff. These oligarchs over in Ukraine, basically that's how they get rich. They pay they run these big companies and they pay off government officials to leave them alone. This guy, his name is Mykola Zlochevsky. He owns Burisma, the infamous company that was paying Hunter something like $85,000 a month to sit on its board, even though he had no expertise in gas or oil. It was basically just his connection to his old man. And now we find out why it was so important, why that was so valuable. It wasn't a just in case, according to this form, if it's true, they actually needed it and they used it, the connection. So Mykola Zlochevsky tells according to the informant, he had a meeting with the informant in 2016 at a coffee shop in Vienna, Austria. And he told that informant it cost $5 million to pay one Biden, $5 million to the other. Zlochevsky made the comment that although Hunter Biden was stupid and that Zlochevsky's dog was smarter, Zlochevsky needed to keep Hunter Biden on Burisma's board so everything will be okay. That's a quote. The source asked whether Hunter or Joe told Zlochevsky that he should retain the younger Biden on the board. Like, whose idea was it? Our source is asking. And Zlochevsky allegedly replied, they both did. So that's Zlochevsky, the president, the owner of Burisma, saying Joe Biden himself told him, put my son on your board. This goes back to the conversation I had a week and a half ago with Miranda Devine, who for the first time helped me see this is not Hunter Biden lining his own pockets and maybe getting 10% for the big guy. This was a Joe Biden operation. The more you listen to Miranda and read her reporting and all of her sources, this is Joe Biden pulling the strings. Joe Biden was trying to line his pockets, according to these allegations, and Hunter was going along for the ride. He was using Hunter, her reporting shows. Again, unconfirmed at this point because nobody else will investigate, but we're on our way, thanks to House oversight. They both did, he said. The federal informant, who is described as a Ukrainian American who's been a trusted, highly credible FBI source for over a decade, described 4 conversations with Zlochevsky, beginning in Kiev in late 2015 or early 16, continuing through a 2019 phone call, all while Joe Biden was vice president, all during the relevant time frame. He said each of his conversations with Zlochevsky, our informant, with the president of Burisma, occurred in the presence of another man named Ostapenko. That guy, Ostapenko, introduced the informant to Zlochevsky. That's how he met through them, or he introduced them, and he works in some office for now President Zelensky. Zlochevsky, the Burisma owner, allegedly claimed that he has an insurance policy on all of this. He wasn't dumb. He kept recordings of the conversations with the Bidens, 17 of them, in fact, 2 of which he claims to the informant involved Joe Biden, as well as many text messages and 2 documents. And he says these are financial records of payments. According to Zlochevsky, again, the Burisma owner, the recordings and other evidence showed that he was coerced into paying the Bidens to ensure that this prosecutor over in Ukraine was fired. That's what Burisma wanted. Burisma was allegedly corrupt. This prosecutor was investigating Burisma. They wanted the guy fired, and there's no question that Joe Biden got him fired. That is an admitted fact in the record. Joe Biden got him fired. Joe Biden says he got him fired because he was corrupt, the prosecutor, and that not only we, the United States, but European allies also wanted the guy gone as an effort to clean up corruption in Ukraine. So they're all doing this. Listening audience, I'm pointing both ways with my fingers. But in any event, we know that Joe Biden did get him fired. Here's Joe Biden bragging about the fact that he got him fired at an appearance before the Council on Foreign Relations, March 2018. Saw 2.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
So we know Joe Biden got the guy fired. But what this 1023 alleges is that was because Joe Biden got paid $5 million and his son Hunter got paid $5 million. And there's a confidential source we've trusted for a decade saying, I heard that directly from the guy who made the payments, who was the head of Burisma, the company that was paying Hunter Biden $85,000 a month. I mean, it's not like so far-fetched. For 3 days only, cbdistillery.com is giving you an exclusive offer, and it's incredible. Right now, you can get up to 50% off everything when you use code VIP. Choose from a range of carefully formulated CBD and other plant-based solutions for relaxation, stress, sleep, and pain after physical activity, even mood and focus. They extract healing plant compounds and vital nutrients for your whole body. No artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, or sweeteners, just 100% clean ingredients. Don't miss this exclusive VIP sale and get up to 50% off your order. Visit cbdistillery.com and enter VIP. That's cbdistillery.com, enter VIP, cbdistillery.com. Not available in Idaho, Iowa, or South Dakota. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.